Let me adjust. What's up, YouTube? What's up, guys? Welcome to the Occult Raven. I'm Kendra. So this is going to be a fairly quick video, but I'll manage to get it all out. I wanted to come to you guys and talk about a book that I have read a couple times and have really incorporated into my daily life, and it's been amazing. If you are at all, um, in the realm of occultism as a practice, as a daily practice, right? True occultism. If you are a juju baby on your magical tip, on your witchy thing, then this is a very, and when I say, magical tip, I'm talking about it all. I'm talking about Vedic philosophy, Kemetic philosophy, um, Santeria, hoodoo, voodoo, Ifa, you name it. It's all magical, okay? Um, if you are at all, dealing with that, then creating magical entities by David Michael Cunningham is something that you definitely want to have in your library. And I'm a big promoter of having a library. I wish I could turn my camera around. I love my books. Um, this is actually one of the more fun books to read. It definitely works. I did it. I do it now. But I think it's, really important to, um, when you are lecturing to people, especially when you are talking about anything in the realm of occultism and magical workings, that you give people books to reference, right? Um, and that is twofold. One, you know, I'm certainly not going to make a 20-hour YouTube video about a scientific study that was done in blah blah blah, in 1940 and whatever. No, I'm going to reference that if it pertains to the lecture. I will reference it, but then I will give you the scholarship where then you can go see for yourself and pull out, extract information from that reference source that applies to you most. Okay. The second reason is, you know, who follows this example? You know, just trust me. Just trust me on what I'm saying. What? No, I don't. I don't suggest that you do. Okay. When I listen to people, because I do go on YouTube, listen to lectures. If you ain't dropping no books, I'm off of there. I'm off of there. What are you talking about? Okay? Now, yes, there can be in you know, in the trueness of occultism and magical workings, you can definitely get downloads. I get downloads. Shit that's not in a book. Okay? But largely it pertains specifically to the person, right? It pertains specifically to the person. And if you are doing a lecture based on, um, you know, um, Hermetic science, if you are doing that, Hermetic law, give a reference point. Give a reference point, okay? Where you might have gotten, a download about um, a cause and effect that is very specific to you. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to hear about that shit. You know what I'm saying? True occultism, you want reference so you can research and you can find things that pertain specifically to you. Okay? So, in all of my videos, my intention is to drop books. You know what I'm saying? Give you authors to look for, and so you can go out and get these things, okay, and build your library. So, again, this book is called Creating Magical Entities. It's by David Michael Cunningham. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share it. Again, I feel like if I know that if you are, in the realm of occultism and doing anything in the world of magic, then this is a book that you want to have. So let me just dive right in. Okay, what is an entity? Let's start there. What is an entity? An entity is anything um, tangible or intangible, an idol, a statue, a sculpture, a ball of yarn, or um, something intangible, a thought form, a picture in your mind. Um, and with those things, you put characteristics to it. That is an entity. Okay, I can reference all of the major religions. They all have entities. Again, if you're working with Santeria, Ifa, Voodoo, Hoodoo, Kemetic, Vedic, you are dealing with entities. And entities are just that. They are facets of um, your higher self. They are facets of your very being. Okay? They are inside of you, right? So we got to get out of, and I don't deal with the spook. So, you're conjuring up some entity. It's only a facet of your imagination, right? Let's get out of that. We have to be very clear about that. You are not creating, especially when you create your magical entity, especially when you get this book and create something that is very specific to you out of your mind. It is of you, okay? It is of you. How could it be anything else, right? So, um, it's so funny, how people look at things like this because, like I said, you can point out all of the major religions, and they all have entities. Okay, why are you so unsettled with creating your own magical entity? Because let's be very clear about this. All of the entities and all of the sects and religions that I just mentioned came out of someone's mind. Okay? Came out of someone's mind, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. You can be on whatever you want to be on, right? If you're on my channel, hopefully you're on your occultic. Hopefully you're on your magician, right? But you can be on you grown. You can be on whatever you want to be on. But please understand and digest the fact that whatever you are on, um, there are magical entities in the working. Okay? Um, so, why would you create a magical entity? This is something, why would I create a magical entity? This is something that, I really had to think over because it was a little unsettling to me. And, being someone who is on the magical tip, as much as I can be, I thought to myself, well, with all the power that I have and all that I know I can do, why am I creating, something, an entity to do things for me? Because that is very specifically why you're creating this magical entity. Whatever it is, this tangible or intangible item, you set characteristics to, you are giving this thing daily tasks, a project. It could be, over the course of a month, over the course of a day. It could be whatever it is that you need done. This is what you are setting this thing out to do. And I had to mull that over in my mind. I had to think about that, and say, with all of the power that I know that I have, why do I need something else to do it for me? And the answer came clear as day. It's because I got other shit to do. Period, point blank. All right. When you start to understand that as a magical person, as someone who is able um, to manifest at will, it is by natural law your right to create, right? And I think I talk about this in one of my last videos, okay? It is your divine right to create, okay? No matter how powerful you are, you're creating stuff, right? Because let's break it on down. Again, I don't, um, you know, deal with anything largely religious based. Um, if you're on my channel, you know that I'm on my occult tip. I'm dealing with magic. So um, you can look at the Bible, okay? God made the heavens and the earth and the dip. It's the same thing, okay? Let's bring this into perspective. As a, a human being brought forth to this earth, good, bad, or indifferent, however you want to feel about that, it is your nature and it is your divine right to create shit. Hell, God did. Okay, isn't that what it says in the Bible? If you're dealing with any of it, again, Santeria, Ifa, Voodoo, Hoodoo, you name it, all of the entities create, right? And they are highly powerful. Highly, they create. So let's just be real clear with that. And that's what I really had to tell myself is that, Kendra, you are, creating this magical entity because you can. And not only that, because I got other shit to do, right? As much as you want to um, be that creator, sometimes you have to make dinner. Sometimes you have to, you have to go to work. You have to, you know, go to your mama's house. You got shit to do. So, a very, like, a real, I'm being silly, but it is true. Something that, a good reason that you will create a magical entity is to, if you're in school and you have a big math test coming up, and it's not because you are, not inclined to understand what is on the test, you know, it's just that you don't feel like it. You got other shit to do, right? So you create this magical entity to help you out on your test. And let me tell you how you're gonna do it. You create this magical entity not to help you study, not to read over text, like you're not gonna sit the entity and flip the page, but you are creating this magical entity, setting characteristics, and one of its major characteristics will be the fact that it is a natural born mathematician. It's a genius. It is a genius. So, um, you know, be clear about what you really want to do and what you're doing when you're creating your magical entity, and whatever task it is that you are setting out for it to do, right? Um, so really quickly, your entity uses, um, um, attuning your energy. That's another thing. You have to know that this is a commanding thing. Okay, so you are commanding this entity to do what it is that you need for it to do. Okay, so just be aware of your energy. You know, you don't even waste your time if you are, like, well, I'm not sure. Don't even do the shit. Don't. Okay, don't even get the book, or just save it for another time where you feel more sure of what you are doing. Um, because your energy can change the whole thing around. Um, Important precautions. So this is something I'll touch on really quickly. Precautions. Just again, think about why you're creating this magical entity. Think about why you are, in need of something to help you out, right? I strongly suggest um, that you do not create anything in in an essence of being harmful to anything or anyone. Number one, um, it's a waste of your time. If you are in a true occultist, if you are a true magical worker, then you have to be very selective in the energy that you put out there. And honey, you grown, okay? Hopefully, if you're not grown, get off my channel. But you know, if you are really working in true occultism and being, true to your magical self, there is there are very select reasons why you would, do something against another person. And I mean, to physically harm someone, or put forth an energy to, attempt to physically harm someone, is just like slow your roll, okay? I Another thing I will talk about is really quickly a precaution of using a magical entity to get something that is not yours, or um, attain something that is not yours, or persuade or command something in another person, right? So, and this may sound silly to some people who are, who would not do this, but there are people out there that will say, "Oh, yes, this book, girl, I'm going to get Ray Ray to love me, and he don't like you, girl. That's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out, okay? He may like you, okay? You may draw him to you, but it's going to be extremely toxic, because remember, even with your magical power in creating entities, you are still working with naturalistic law, okay? Um, I, um, you know, if you're on my channel, you know that I don't deal with anything largely religious based at all. Um, I look at um, Hermetic law, and I just look at cause and effect, which is a naturalistic law. You cannot get rid of it. Don't matter if you don't, you know what I'm saying? Study it, believe in it, whatever, da da da. It is there. Um, I just look at that. Some people look at um, it's called the threefold law. Whatever you put out will come back to you three times over. So just be very clear in what you are doing. And I caution people about this because when done right, when done in the right energy, creating a magical entity works. Okay? Um, what else? Goals and results. Again, think about why you're creating this magical entity, what goals it is that you want to accomplish. Excuse me. And one thing that the author really touches on is, what is the result? What's going to come out of this? Is it worth your time? Okay. Um, are you creating, a magical entity and putting all of this energy into it, to, you know, um, stop your girlfriend from arguing so much. Like, what? Don't do that. Again, don't do anything. I highly suggest against doing anything that will put a command on another person. I suggest against that. Now, if you want to create this magical entity to put more harmony in your relationship, have the fuck at it. You know what I'm saying? Have at it. Do that. Okay? That's very valid. That's extremely valid. Um, but to make a person do, you know what I'm saying, specifically this or that, or be who you want them to be, it's gonna backfire. So don't don't even do it again and again. You're still working with naturalistic law, right? So um, the um, the part that I enjoyed the most is really getting into planning your entity, choosing a name. It's very simple how you can choose a name, but when you go through this step by step thing, because it really is like a DIY, you know, it just puts you in a creative mode. And, you know, by now, if you are researching anything having to do with, creating a magical entity, then you know, in order for whatever it is that you are creating to be, you know, magical, you have to be in an extremely creative, magical mode yourself, right? So, um, you know, reading this book and actually following along and planning my entity, getting the entity, choosing its name, putting characteristics to it, and the identity of the entity, it put me in such like a childlike state. It's almost like when you were younger, and um, you create your imaginary friend, and that imaginary friend is real as hell. Okay, the imaginary friend had to have a plate at the table. The imaginary friend had to sit next to you in the car, right? So it is exactly that. Um, Housing your entity. So housing your entity being whatever it is, whatever vessel it is that you want to um, put those characteristics into. Again, tangible or intangible. It definitely works best when it's a tangible item, not like a large sort of thing, because there may be times that you want to move your entity around wherever it is that you have it, in your home, in your office, um, wherever it is that you have at your work, whatever. Um, you may want to be able to move this entity around with you. So feeding time, which is like, so feeding time is it's an offering that you give to your entity, right? Again, you can find this in all major religions. You can find this in all made, you know what I'm saying? Anything having to do with um, um, a deity, an entity, a god, a goddess, a da da da. You are given these things offerings, right? So it's the same thing when you create your magical entity. You want to be able to, but see, here's the thing: you um, dictate, right? Whatever offerings you want to give to your entity. Um, its magical abilities. What can your magical entity do? What can it do for you? What can it do? You know, that will help you manifest whatever it is, or conquer whatever it is that you are setting out to do. So the lifespan of it. Now this is really important. The lifespan of your magical entity, because this can be set out for a particular project. I need to, again, pass my math test. I need to pass this test. When this test is over, then I no longer need this very specific entity, or you can have it as this is my helper in business. You know what I mean? This magical entity will help me draw customers, or this magical entity will help me, um, you know, deal with suppliers better. Okay, so then the lifespan of that entity will be, as long as you want your business to be prosperous. Um, Programming it with your intent. Very important. Programming this thing with your intent. This is probably the most important part in the book. While all of the other things are very, very valid and and important, I think that programming your entity is extremely important. So, programming your entity will be. I'm sorry, I have this chain on my. I'm like digging it. I have this chain on it. So, programming your entity with your intent is very specific because, you don't want your entity running amok, okay? You are being very um, intentional in even creating this thing, but you also want it to function with intent, with your intent, okay? Um, Going back to having to take a math test, you know what I'm saying? You you give the characteristic of um, this magical entity being a natural born mathematician, a natural born genius when it comes to math, right? But your intent is not for it to help everybody in the classroom. Your intent is for it to help your ass. Okay, give you that A so you can pass this test and get the hell up out of trigonometry. So be very clear with your intent when you're programming this thing. Okay, giving life to your entity, and so giving life to your entity is, I think. Okay. So giving life to your entity was had to do with cleansing, you know, cleansing and balancing whatever area, again, wherever you're going to have your entity, cleansing that area, sage it, you know what I'm saying? Some, get you some incense and clear out that area. A statement of magical intent, alignment of desire, and charging your entity, and then closing off that ceremony because it's really it's like a ceremony. Um, Contacting your entity, you know what I'm saying? If you are creating your entity as a helper in, in your business, okay, then you want to be able to get in contact with that entity, like, give me the 411. You know, is is this, supplier trying to do this, that, or the third to me? Are they, you know what I'm saying, billing me for more than what I need to? Or it is very important for you to be able to get in contact with that magical entity and get a download from that magical entity. When you are able to get a download from something that you have created, you are working with and mastering, um, the highest faculty of your divine self, right? Because we all, hear about these things. Oh, work with, when you think about Vedic philosophy, work with, the entity Lakshmi to gain wealth, abundance and wealth, or abundance and beauty. okay? And, you know, you work with this entity, and that is a very real and precise thing, okay? However, when you are working um, with the highest, your highest divine mind, and you are able to create a magical entity of your liking with the characteristics that you give to it, um, and it sets out and it accomplishes tasks that you have, you know, programmed it to do. Now you cooking with fire, okay? So it's an amazing thing to do, okay? It is a test that you can do over and over and over and over again, right? So I actually suggest that you start with, you know, creating a magical entity to help you do something very small at first. And I only say this because, um, you know, people give up real easily. People give up very quickly. And if you are just purchasing this book and you say, okay, first time creating a magical entity, and I want this magical entity to find me, the absolute love of my life, who will love me unconditionally and give me this, that, and the third. It's like, well, you know, let's start small, okay? Because what if it doesn't work out the first time, okay? Again, you just learning. This is your first magical entity. Maybe you missed a step or two, okay? Maybe your energy was off. Maybe you didn't fully understand how to program your magical entity. Doesn't mean it didn't work. It just means you were off a bit, right? Um, People give up very easily. So, you know, I even tell people this, when they ask me about manifestations, right? Which is on the same tip as this is. Okay, when you are trying to manifest something for the very first time, or even the second, third time, okay, try to manifest something small. Try to, you know, create something and bring forth something small. Because, you know, if you're trying to manifest um, your mortgage payment, okay, and you're 3 months behind, it's like, you know, let's start small. Manifest a crystal, right? Oh, just start small. It is a way for you to ease into doing this, and it's an easy let down if it does not work. Again, does not mean that you are not magical. Does not mean that um, you know, it did not work. It only means that, you know, you need to fine tune some things and then go at it again, right? Um, Another reason is that if you are trying to, you know, create a magical entity to bring you, you know, your twin flame, the love of your life, okay? That's not really something that you want to go at over and over and over again, right? So, because you want to put your full power, all of yourself into it, and that starts to dissipate when you do something over and over and over again, right? So that's the reason that I say that. This video went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I got it all out. This is a really amazing book to have. Again, if you are on your occult tip, if you're magical, if you're trying to be magical, if you're into anything in that realm, then Creating Magical Entities by David Michael Cunningham is the thing to have, honey. Okay, don't slip on your powers. And really quickly, you know, this thing is not for the weak at heart. This is not what this is about. Okay, you can look at it and say, oh, a seasoned um, I'm a seasoned juju baby, okay? Or I'm a seasoned witch. Don't matter. Doesn't matter. This is so practically laid out and um, simplistic that and I've done this before, and I got this book and I was kind of like, oh, I think I was doing way too much. I might have been doing way too much, okay? This book streamlines shit for you. And again, it's an easy read. It's nice to have. And it's a good reference point, okay? Thank you for tuning in. If you got any value out of this, if I did not go on for too long and annoy you, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, so anytime I bring the knowledge, or anytime I do these mini lectures or bigger lectures, then you will be aware of that and you'll see me on it. Okay, so be blessed. Peace.